Now that the comedy show is over, let's get down to business. All right, good morning. It is 10:02. We are a little late this morning. Welcome. Thank you for joining us for a special meeting this morning. I will call to order the Board of Fire Commissioners for July 27th. And with that, Mr. Daly, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, sir?
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Madam Clerk, can I get a roll call, please?
Certainly. Bob Lucy, Chair.
Here.
Von Hartung, Vice Chair.
Here.
Alexis Hill.
Here.
Katie Jung. Present. Jeannie Herman.
Here.
Fire Chief Charles Moore.
Here.
Deputy District Attorney Mary Canderas. And I'm Chief Deputy Clerk Kathy Smith. You have a quorum, sir.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I appreciate that. All right. Chief, item 3.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 3 is public comment. Comment heard under this item will be limited to 3 minutes per person and may pertain to matters both on and off the Board of Fire Commissioners' agenda. The district will also hear public comment during individual action items with comment limited to 3 minutes per person. Comments are to be made to the Board of Fire Commissioners as a whole.
All right, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we are having a little bit of technical difficulty this morning, so we are going to kind of rely on an old school, how we've always done it before, just our digital timer for your 3 minutes. So please be aware of that. Madam Clerk, will you please call public comment?
We have Mr. Ron McConnell. Oh, it's working. It's working. It appears the timer is working now.
Oh, look
so
at
we'll
that.
go ahead and start that.
You're welcome, Mr. McConnell. It's our pleasure to have you this morning.
Janine knows, my complaint is about the sheriff.
Mr. McConnell, if you could talk into this, and please state your name.
Is it
for the
on
record.
now?
Yep, you are. Can you state your name for the record, sir?
Okay. Janine knows the sheriff's department out in Sun Valley. The speeding is terrible. You call the sheriff's department and they got 40 different reasons why. Well, we took all of our patrol officers and put them on doing that. It's, important. But when I get pushed down the road, get past in the borrow pit, past the WIs, and you say anything, well, what area? The whole area. They don't seem to care. Oh, yes, they do when they get somebody a bonus for donating oil. Organs. It's time that they do something about speeding in Sun Valley. Once they open Sun Valley Boulevard, I live on Leon, and from I get on Leon, and there's cars just turning off Highland Ranch, and before I get to Middle Fork, and they're on my butt pushing me. It's something. They say, well, where to do it? Go do it. Well, we only got 2 of them. Come to you ask for money. It's not my job to lobby for money. It's their job to do their job. And they don't seem to do it, unless they get patted on the back for something. That's about all I got to say. Just get some cooperation, get speeding under control, because all Sun Valley Boulevard, clear to McCarran, is 35. All right, thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, Mr. McConnell. Appreciate that.
We have no one else signed in.
All right. Thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll close public comment. Bring it back to the board. Chief, we are on to item 4.
Item 4 is a recommendation to approve a revised month-to-month interlocal agreement between Truckee Meadows Fire Protection District and Washoe County for and on behalf of the Washoe County Sheriff's Office for dispatch services in an amount not to exceed $75,000 per month starting August 1 through June 30th, 2022.
All right. And Chief, do we have somebody from staff here to present, or is?
We do.
Okay.
Why do we need that?
I'm just asking if we do. Are there any questions from the commissioners for Chief Deputy Kuklis?
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
All right. I have a motion and a second. Do I have any public comment?
No, we do not.
All right. Seeing no public comment, we will close that. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. Please affirm your votes on the screen, or please place your votes on your screen. All right, motion carries. Please affirm your vote. All right, Chief, item 5.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, item 5 is a recommendation to approve an agreement between Truckee Meadows Fire Protection District and REMSA to provide dispatching services to Truckee Meadows Fire Protection District in an annual amount of $607,750 in the first year, with a 2% annual increase that would rise to a total cost of $632,303 per year if extended through the proposed 3-year duration.
All right. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I did pull this item for further discussion from our last fire meeting. We've had opportunity to address a number of questions. Commissioners, do you have any discussion or questions for the chief deputy or the deputy? I mean, the chief, deputy chief, or chief. Jeez, sorry.
Yeah, that.
Those guys.
Those guys. Anybody have any conversations or questions?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Seeing
Mr.
none?
Chairman, I just wanted to say thank you for giving this item some more time. I really appreciate the staff working with our labor union, giving them the information that they needed and the questions answered. And I appreciate REMSA doing that outline of how they prepare to staff up and make this a really good thing for Truckee Meadows Fire. I just had been hearing in the community that REMSA was having some tough times hiring, and I just wanted to make sure we get that on the record on what the plan is for that.
All right. All right, thank you. Commissioner Hill, I appreciate that. Anything further from any of the commissioners? Any questions?
Mr. Chairman.
Vice Chairman.
No, I just also, to sort of echo Commissioner Hill's comments, I appreciate the additional time to do a little deeper dive, understand the issues a little better, understand kind of the longer range plan, and I'm fully supportive and ready to make a motion anytime you're ready to.
Thank you, sir. At this time, I'll accept any motion.
So move, sir.
I have a motion to accept. Do I have a second? Second from Commissioner Herman. Madam Clerk, do I have any public comments on it?
We do not.
All right, seeing no further public comment, close that, and we will bring it back. We have a motion and a second. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously with all commissioners voting. Please affirm your votes on the screen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that closes out the business portion of this morning's special meeting. We're on to item 6. This is the Commissioners and Fire Chiefs announcements. Chief, do you have anything this morning that you'd like to add?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, just one quick announcement and a reminder that there's no meeting of the Board of Fire Commissioners in August.
Okay, thank you. All right, seeing nothing. Commissioners, do you have anything that you'd like to add? Commissioner John?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like I would like to request that the chief, I'm sure, is keeping an eye on this, but I do have some serious concerns as we move forward in this region in terms of fires being fought and put out on the day that they are occurring, and what are our repercussions that we can use towards the air quality index that we are suffering because of decisions made to allow fires to burn without anybody on top of them, including drones or helicopters. Since July 4th, I might tell you, Tamarac's been burning. And so politics makes for strange bedfellows, but I'll tell you something, Assemblyman Wheeler, I completely support him of going after forestry, of what has happened in that community. And I want to know, what do we have? And remember, I do also realize if we have a wildfire here, we're responsible for the smoke that blows east as well. But there has got to be a handle put on this, because this letting fires burn out a la Paradise, which is exactly what happened if you watch the Frontline on PBS story about the Paradise fire, which burnt the whole town to the ground and killed 83 people that we know of. The fire chief there said, well, you know, it was just really hard, terrain to get up into, and it was very, very, very windy. Helicopters couldn't go. They let it burn. And I know you don't subscribe to that philosophy, and I've always admired you for that. But I want to know, and maybe it's through the Board of Health, to whom do we hold responsible when we are under this type of smoke when it is not our fault? And yes, I do want to find whose fault it is, because this is a civil society, and therefore we go to the courts, as Paul Liparelli used to teach me, not the bike racks. You go to the courts and you work this out. But there has got to be some built-in a carrot and stick to incentivize. Just letting it burn isn't cool. This is affecting 500,000 people in this, and you can hear it in my throat as well, and I'm sure you're worse for the wear because you're out and about all the time in your job. I would like to see a lot more responsibility and accountability when it comes to what we inherit, because some genius in fire service said, just let it burn. Too hard to get there, just too hard. And that's not going to work for this commissioner anymore and this taxpayer. And living in the West, which I would love to live in for the rest of my life. But if this is the new normal, we got some big problems ahead of us. Most importantly, and I've already asked the county manager this, we have to retrofit all of our buildings. Because I don't know if you were around yesterday, which was arguably one of the worst days. There was so much smoke in this building for our employees, and that is a whole other capital outlay. And I believe government should be the first to take care of their employees, because it's hard to get a capitalist to take care of their employees. So government starts first to show that this is the way it's done. This is how we treat human beings. Certainly this is how I treat people who are paid by the taxpayers. So I really want us to dive into that. I've already told the chair if he wanted to make an introduction to the assemblyman for me. I'm on board, because this is a biohazard right now that we're living in, and this is not good for our future, and it's not good for pregnant women. It's not good for our pets. Most importantly, who loves to live here? Senior citizens. You know, they've already been shut in for a year and a half, and now they're shut in because of the fires. And I'm not saying it's all California. I'm a California girl through and through. But what I'm saying is we never hold them responsible for their horse, you know what. So that's the charge I want to move on in my life. And if you guys want to get together and see how we can strategize, I think Mr. Assemblyman Wheeler's onto something here. And something we could have went for a couple years ago when a smoldering fire that was put out by the Nevada Forest Service suddenly. And luckily, I mean, we lost a lot of homes, but we could have lost hundreds of people by the timing of that, and the elderly that lived there in that beautiful Franktown. I don't know what you guys call that down there, but I'm not that long of a local, but it is unquestionably one of our biggest issues we are going to face in the near future. And I would just like to hold some other people's feet to the responsibility of. I didn't want to say fire, because that would be too good. But I think this is a challenge that we're all going to face. And I would strongly recommend everybody to watch PBS's Frontline, the Paradise Fire. It will blow your socks off. If you think the movie was scary that they did, that people had their own videos in their phones when they're driving through walls of fire, dispatch tell them, and it's fine, everything's great here, because they weren't being told anything. Watch the PBS Frontline. You can get it on demand. I do know that. And I think it's free if you have cable or whatever. But it will really open your eyes as commissioners and as firefighters how we have to hold us to a different standard for this behavior as well. I'm not in the business of letting fires burn anymore. I know I used to be, but I just think we're not good enough at predicting the weather patterns these fires get, especially, and even Paradise knew this, it was so damn dry there, and it was November, which is not normal in a mountain town. So I'm getting off my soapbox, but I really encourage you to watch that, because I'd love to hear what other perspectives you have, those subject matter experts here. Am I way off base saying, what the hell happened? And I do know the Butte County District Attorney, which maybe our district attorney should be listening to, successfully is suing PG&E. So I really think we need to be making friends with these people in Butte County and see how they did it, and what we should do for best practices, and how we can staff up as well as liability up and hold people accountable, so that they're not encouraged to just let it burn in Alpine County. Why not just let the whole fire burn since July 4th? It's the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard. So, and I get it too. I'm sure they're stretched thin and they don't have a lot of people to go. Pull in the guard. I mean, we have a lot of resources that we already pay for as taxpayers, and this nonchalance is, it doesn't square with my experience, is what I should say. So thank you for listening to that. Please watch the Frontline on PBS, Paradise Fire, and give me a call or text me, or let's go out to eat, or whatever it is that makes you happy, so I can hear a brain dump for everybody here. Thank you. And citizens.
Thank you, Commissioner. I do appreciate that. And I'm going to kind of jump in right behind her on this. You know, if you currently look at the 5 largest wildfires burning in the United States right now, 2 of which are within 100 miles of our current residence. The Dixie Fly complex is the one that's probably number 2 in the nation with as many acres burned, and the Tamarack fire is number 5. Both of which are started in California, but dramatically impact northern Nevada and our community. Commissioner pointed out the health challenges that are impacted by those individuals coming off the tail end of a pandemic. That, you know, not only do we talk about senior citizens, but children, and every citizen in northern Nevada is impacted by these fires. But the economic impact too. If you saw many businesses closed, could not open, had to do restricted, and so the economic impacts to our community for those, not only for our local economy but tourism and whatnot to our community. Right now, our chief and I had a conversation over the weekend, and I want to thank our staff for quickly responding to the fire up on Mount Rose in Galena area on Sunday night. Very quickly did we have NDF and our staff and U.S. Forest Service on that, and that was held to just over an acre. And luckily, and that was a lightning strike, no different than how Tamarack Fire and the Dixie Fire were both started. But to the commissioner's point, the Tamarack Fire was started by a lightning strike on July 4th and is now July 27th, and we have some of the lost massive structures. We've had impact to the community via smoke, and it's ridiculous that we have to wait until it hits the Nevada state line that we can even have any kind of impact on that. There has to be some way that we can work jurisdictionally together that this can functionally work stronger, because just to wait and sit idly by and let our citizens be impacted by it. And then not to talk, I mean, you know, Quincy and Greenville are 2 towns within the state of California, but those individuals rely heavily on our community for resources, food, and different things like that, because we're the closest area for those individuals to get a lot of those services. Both are being threatened by the Dixie Fly complex, and that's scary to see a revisit, basically a revisit of what we saw in Paradise. And it's frustrating that CAL FIRE and those individuals are taking that kind of a stance to how they effectively fight fire. I don't know who's in command, and I'm not going to sit here and point fingers, but all I know is that it is currently burning some of the largest fires in the western United States, and that's a dramatic impact to what we do. And when it impacts us, there's got to be some kind of recourse that we have to move forward to either address, help, move forward with. The governor, like him, don't like him, if you will. I mean, he acted quickly once it hit the Nevada state line and activated quite a few people to get at least our line of the Nevada state border protected. But still, the impact is dramatic. And I think the commissioner is right. There has to be some accountability, because this allowance just to let fires burn or believe is dramatically impactful to a number of different facets within our life here in northern Nevada. So I agree with the commissioner, and I will bring it up with the Board of Health, and I will also take it up with the chief, and we'll figure out what we can do from a state level or in the local level. So any further comments from any of the commissioners?
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Hill.
Chief, I saw Kenneth Dalton at an event on Saturday, and he is still looking to pursue doing something at that Black Springs station. And so I'm hoping we can re-engage with him and our story. And so any support I can provide, and I know this is in Commissioner Herman's district, but you know, just to make sure that we get him what he needs. He wants to get that building on the historic registry, and has a lot of ideas, and this would be one of 2 historical fire stations recognizing African Americans in the entire nation. So I think there's real opportunity. So I just want to make sure we get that back on the hopper. Thank you.
All right. Seeing nothing further from any of the commissioners, we will close item 6 and move on to item 7. This is our final public comment. Madam Clerk, is there anybody signed in for a final public comment?
Yes, we have Mr. Charles Stockford.
All right. Welcome, Mr. Stockford.
Good morning. It's been about 4 months since I've been here, and it was gonna take some action on what's going on Quartz Lane in Sun Valley. Being as the fire department is here, maybe they're not aware of the obstacle course they have to run if they go up Quartz Lane with the vehicles and stuff that's parked on both sides of the street for about 2 blocks. And it's one lane. If there's a car coming the other way, you have to stop and let the other car go. Not trucks. The garbage trucks have to go up and down this road. Propane trucks go up and down. UPS. And it's a one-lane road for that 2 blocks. Nothing has been cleaned up, and it's getting worse. They're bringing in mattresses and TV sets and washing machines and cars and campers and just junk cars and stripping them out and just leaving them there on Quartz Lane. And I was here a couple of times about this problem, and it seems like nobody seems to care what happens up there. I thought I'd stop in today. I'm glad the fire department's here. Maybe they'll be aware of what's going on up there because they have to get in and out of there. I used to drive a fire bus for the wildfires. I used to carry 20 passengers up in the mountains on a bus to go to the fires, and I know what these guys have as far as problems go up there in the hills, but I would like to see something done about Quartz Lane. Thank you much.
Thank you, Mr. Stockford. We do appreciate it. All
I
right.
have no one else signed in, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that. All right. Seeing nothing further, we are adjourned. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.